Good morning. Welcome to 4x8 Paper Stuff. This is Beth. We are in day 3 of the process of getting ready to do our Vietnam travel journal. And in doing this, I'm working in my HOBONICHI for the first few days to try to get my thoughts where they need to be before I dive into a travel journal and mess up the first couple days. This is a lesson I learned the hard way. Many times I start a travel journal as soon as I get home and I'm like, oh, now what do I do? And I don't like it. And I do something because I feel like I have to do it, or I rush myself and my thoughts aren't ready. My head is not on the same time frame as my fingers. And so in doing my HOBONICHI, I can kind of get my thoughts, the chaos out of my head before I start doing the real deal. And I don't feel like if I don't like my HOBONICHI, it's wrong. My HOBONICHI is a place for me to just jot down bullet points of my day. In a arterly, is that a word? Arterly fashion. To creatively jot down bullet points in my head. These are the pages in the beginning of the HOBONICHI where you can do like your day in a vertical glance. I don't use these the way they're supposed to be used or the way they were designed to be used. I use them the Beth way, which is just kind of mishmash and put stuff down. And I have come to the point where I like the way I use my HOBONICHI. I think this is the 4th year I've had one, and I just go for it. Everything and anything goes in here. I love it. The mishmashier, the better. So I did a few more pages, pictures of like the aerial shots, Google shots of the airports, adding a little bit of washi tape here and there, just filling in some blanks on the pages. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera thing. Filling in a couple pages. I did these titles while I was on the plane because we had a couple hours on the plane of time to kill. Yeah. 14-hour plane ride's not my friend, but anyhow. And that's just me filling in some titles. I tried to use a lot of red because the flag is red in Vietnam, and red shows up everywhere. And I think they consider red as a good luck color. I know most Asian countries do. So I started with Confucius. The man I showed you yesterday was Ho Chi Minh. So needless to say, he's not showing up here. But I have some Confucius quotes. And I got some new weather stamps that are handy always now. I can keep them right here. And every day we had semi-cloudy, hot, and more hot. I looked at the weather this morning. It was 105 there today. And so me filling in a few more gaps with a few stamps and a few more pictures on things I've already done. And then I start branching into the pages I haven't worked on yet. With the exception of maybe 2 pages, I kind of finished my HOBONICHI. So I have one more day to work in my HOBONICHI, I think. And these, again, I'm printing these just on copy paper because obviously my HOBONICHI is fat. It's a little like its owner. Anyhow, not fat, just plump. I made some Job date stamps out of my own pictures, which will go in the actual travel journal. And when I say Job's journals, I love how he makes like calendar pages out of his pictures. And so I took a tip from him and did that. A picture of the outside of our hotel. I will be photocopying. No, I'm going to use the postcards, except for that one in my journal. I bought them specifically for my journal, not my HOBONICHI. My HOBONICHI, again, is just a bullet point. And if the bullet points are written or pictures, it's okay. There are a couple tip-ins that ended up going in these things because I'm running out of room. This was the quilter that was the talent, if you will, on our trip. And needless to say, she had been sitting next to us at the airport in JFK for about a half an hour before we discovered that she was sitting right next to us. So anyhow, we all got a good laugh out of that. She heard us saying to somebody that we were going to Vietnam, and she says, "Are you my people?" And we're like, "Oh yes, we are your people." Anyhow, And I've been following her quilting blog for probably 10 or more years. She used to live in South Carolina. In fact, she lived right here in the Columbia area where we are. And so that's how I discovered her. But this is a long line of pictures from the Confucius slash Literature Museum. So I had been playing on my iPad this morning when I could not sleep. And I'm going to use that art whatever spread as part of my as a tip in, and just to have it on there, and then my pictures will be on the other side. Tip ins are my friend, and tip ins can be your friend in any kind of journaling form, if you ask me. So anyhow, I just left them in a strip and put them on the back of that thing that I just did, and that was just Procreate with some mixed media paintbrushes in Procreate. So anyhow, trying to get all my thoughts together. Again, still working on titles that I made on the plane. This is all the little town up in the mountains. I had more flight stuff that I had already done on the plane. And I have my indigenous people that I want to include in these next couple spreads, which I think I have said several times now already, and will continue to say. This was my favorite part of the trip. The embroidery and the batik. My favorite part of the trip. And that was the benefit of taking this kind of a tour, a craft tour, is we got to do crafts. And really a lot more than I ever expected. I thought these were the only two we were going to do, but we got to do lacquer. We got to do, well, we saw pearl demonstrations. Something else seems like. My mind is a blank, but anyhow. So anyhow, I'm adding a little bit more journaling that I did while I was on the plane about Bonnie Hunter, and the length of the flight and how it was horrible. And yes, I sound like a whining princess when I talk about the length of the flight, but it was awful. I did not sleep at all going, but I slept coming home a little bit better. I slept about 5 hours, which was obviously more than the first trip. So, I think this was, I took some screenshots of the flight tracker, just trying to, especially when we were over China, just trying to fill some gaps in the travel pages. There's the little embroidery kit that Bonnie Hunter gave us, and the group on the plane. We were all like in a row and all of us doing embroidery. She was sitting in front of us, so she took a picture of us too. I think one of those, oh yeah, that's the Hanoi flight tracker, Google Earth shot from above on the right-hand side. So we were getting ready to leave, so I put the Hanoi one there. This is the little lacquer demonstration that we did, and kind of playing with lacquer and varnish, because the lacquer would take too long to dry. But this is some of the pages that came out of a little children's book that I got. Unfortunately, I got two, but unfortunately one was about the war. And like, how did I even not notice that those were all war pictures, which I don't want to include. But even if I cover up the objects, there's the little girl you can see there on the left-hand part of the screen. She'll be used in something. The dog is whining here, sorry. And I used cherry blossom washi tape that I got from Daiso when I went to California last month. What a crazy time. So much travel. But anyhow, so that's kind of fun. We did not, the cherry blossoms were already done over there. If they have any, I'm not even sure. But it was still the idea of it. And they had a jar of paintbrushes that was absolutely gorgeous. And then the cute little girl that was journaling, talking about journaling with us, that was a lot of fun. And so I'm just trying to, I think I've just about got it done, except for Hulong Bay and going up to the temple at, I call it Fancy Pan, but I think it's Vanis Pan or something like that, at the top of Sapa, which is the southern tip of the Himalayas. So I can now say I've been to the Himalayas, right? Right. Anyhow, so I pulled out a couple things that we did on the last day. The Women's Museum, and which there were some more propaganda posters. I think one of these pictures is a war propaganda, but the women and what the roles they have played in history in Vietnam, which was really rather, since we were all women except for two husbands that came, a great way to end our tour, I thought. And there was a bunch of little post-it notes from kids, and a really neat museum. Beautiful artwork in there also. That was the little man that was guarding the train tracks and that crazy train that you have seen in lots of travel shots. Anyhow, our last night, the farewell dinner, and then that other picture, what is it that I turned it over? I cannot remember. And now I don't know where I am. Oh, I was going to use these stickers. Guess what? That sticker can, spoiler alert, is empty. Why am I keeping that thing? It's all bent up. I don't know why. Anyhow, so I didn't want the Hanoi Hilton, which is where some POWs were held, U.S. POWs in Vietnam. I did not want that to be front and center there, so I kind of put it on a post-it note and hid it a little bit. And there's me trying to open it, and it's empty. So I threw it away. Can you believe it? I know. So anyhow, I have a few spots where I want to add some more notes, and I'm getting closer and closer to getting it done. And oh, I like the longitude and latitude marks of Vietnam. I found that on Pinterest somewhere, or Hanoi. So we're getting close. We're getting close. Outro. We're getting there. I think that is ready for writing. This is just the May opening page. This one is a travel day. Ready for writing. I left a few spots here and there. Our hotel page, street life, the water puppet show. That's mostly what that is. There's a little bit of room for writing here and there. This is if I haven't already told you, an art, whatever, mixed media thing I did on Procreate at 3 o'clock this morning. Yeah. Some Confucius quotes, some of the Confucius Museum, room for writing, going up to Sapa and going in with these ladies of the Red Dao, which this was my favorite day. This was my second favorite day. This was the batik day. I have to print some pictures for this. This is Hulong Bay. I have to print pictures for this and this. Back to Hanoi on this day. I can't remember what we did that night. I think that was the night I had room service for the first time ever. I know. But I just needed quiet time. A couple people, we had a free night of dinner on our own. I was already to the point where I'm like, it breaks my heart, but I don't like Vietnamese food. At least traditional Vietnamese food. So I had room service. And somewhere I have a receipt for that. Then we went out and about. The last day we did a massive museum run to the Women's Museum. We had a farewell dinner. We did lacquer. We did an Old Town tour, and on some electric cars did another Old Town tour. Went past the Hanoi Hilton. American history for those of you who are not American watching. That's fine. I'm not going to go into all that. Went past that place where the train goes right through the middle of this little market area. We didn't see a train, but we saw the guard. And I'm using a little bit of stuff. This was the lacquer area, and this darling little girl, I'm sure she would be thrilled to know that I'm calling her a little girl, that had the best journal. And it was just great to see journals across the world that look like ours. And then we're starting to come home, all of us doing our embroidery project. Mine is almost done. I have one more of these, a part of one more of these little flowers, and then it's all done. And then you can do some quilting around it. The Hanoi Airport, which is kind of like reverse in time here, but that's okay. Crooked washi tape, and that was it. My husband picking us up with the dog, and wow, what a trip. This is back into California. So yeah, fun. I've got some blank spots in between trips that I need to work on. obviously. Cleaning off a paintbrush. Some history stuff. Easter. Blood work. More shootings. The actual doctor's appointment. The girls came here, our granddaughter and the old neighbor. Got my dongs and my meds. Some help those work. Oh, this was finishing up Aquatic Archaeologist. That was my works page. Candy makes the world go around. Oh, here's, I think Gunnar had a new grooming appointment that day. Oh, and he had to go to the vet too. That was not fun. An active shooter in our little town, but it turned out to be a lot less than an active shooter, even though he had a gun. Oh, this goes in here. The anniversary of my mom's death. So my sister and I went for a hike for the 3rd year in a row of her 4 years gone. Into Congaree National Park. That was their anniversary. Cleaning lady. This was going to be a Vietnam War thing. Just kind of like a timeline for my own info. Some of the after effects that are still happening. So I'm trying to get this one together too. It's going to be a long video, I guess. And then we get into it. My packing was probably pretty right on. I thought at first for a while I had too many clothes. Turns out no, because you go through like 17 outfits a day because it is so hot. And we lucked out on weather. Not really 17, but it felt like it sometimes. Anyhow, we're getting close. We're getting close. Oh, I'm working ahead. I'm going to have a fun day. Like all the little kids we saw, our traveling companions, our guide, might do like a overall of the museums we went to. Even though this isn't the right day, I did the coronation just off of what was on the Time magazine when I got home. On Sunday, we went for a boat ride. I made my own, what they call spring rolls. We call egg rolls, but I made my own with the recipe that we got off the boat in Hulong Bay. That was fun. And then me starting to work in here and get my act together. But I think I will have a couple pages like all the little kids and a museum day. Just to fill in the blanks here. This is today, which, oh, I went to the DR here. Somewhere I have a bracelet from the urgent care people. Oh, I think my medicine is finally catching up to me, so I feel a little better. Here we go. Not quite as scattered. And we're present day. But I'm going to take this now and go do a bunch of writing. So that I can be done with that part. And I need to print some pictures of Hulong Bay. And what else did I say I needed to do? Hulong Bay. Me in a kayak on Hulong Bay. Oh, and the batik people. Okay. Okay. And that'll probably do it. Tomorrow might be the last session in here. Look at this thing. I love this. And you don't have to have a Hobonichi. I just like the paper, but you can use a composition notebook. In fact, even though I made a journal to take with me, I used a composition notebook in the end. A small one, which I have already put someplace. Here it is. This fit perfectly in my little to-go bag every day. I wrote in it. I will work on my notes when I get to my journaling a lot more in depth. This was just like an overall, get my frustration, not frustration, but confusion out of my head. Theoretically, it'll be out of my head by the time I start the journal. Can't guarantee you. I've done a couple things in Procreate. I think this will be my title, Vietnam Visit. So yeah, got some new weather stamps that I can keep in a little box right here. Got some more washi tape going here. And get ready for the big push to the journal. Still don't know what I'm going to do. This is kind of why I'm still doing this part. Slightly stalling. Got out some Post-its to work with. That's it for today. This is just... Then my aunt and, well, my cousin's wife and my uncle come the first weekend in June. My sister from California is coming the last part of June. I don't know the dates yet. But busy, busy, busy. And then after that, I think it quiets down. So then we need to plan for Japan, right? Right. Just saying. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Bye.